Part 143. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1435. Yanj reached out and signaled Sinan not to speak. She went on to say, Sinan, in my opinion, there are many things alive are more important than the love between men and women. I like the life more than men and women. Life is so short, I don't want to spend it on meaningless things. Sinan looked at the words. If at first he was surprised, then now, in his eyes looking at Yan Ji, there was only sadness like water. How many injuries did she suffer so that she pretended to be like this? She must have not completely let go of her past. Sinan's lips moved, and he asked softly, have you ever liked him? He in the Sananko refers to the magpies. You are talking about Mr. Zhu, Yanj thought for a while. I treat things with you as if they were on the battlefield. All I like are weapons that I can hold in my hand. Her metaphor was incredible, but Sinan understood it almost instantly. He had thousands of words to say, but in her quiet eyes, everything seemed to be stuck in his throat. Suddenly, what she said may be true. It is possible that she really did not like him, nor did she like the old guy. However, they are not reconciled. He felt like he was just a fish that was thrown on the dry land. He was about to suffocate, but he was still struggling to dying. Fifi, are you saying that because you can't cross the threshold of his death? He stared at her face without blinking, trying to find a little clue on her face. But what he saw was the surprise and speechlessness in her eyes. He heard her chuckling, and his voice was incredibly tolerant and said, Sinan, people are alive, love is only a very small part. If you look ahead, you will find that there are many things in this world that are more important than love and can make you something of interest. She is like an elder, she talks and talks, more like he is teaching him. This is she, do you think he is short-sighted? Fifi, stay with me without delay. Love can be lacking, but love will not delay others. The icing on the cake. But before he finished speaking, he heard her say, it's boring. Yanj thinks that the Mighty One focuses his mind on love, so he is still obsessed with it. She looked at Sinan with a pained expression. With this effort, I might as well spend more time on research to benefit human beings. I can spend more time thinking about it, and many people can avoid drugs. She didn't wait for Sinan to speak, and said, Sinan, if you're okay, send me back. I'm still busy. Sinan. He didn't know if it should be love or hate what she said. But as she urged to go back, he was agitated. Although the brain is dull, the words in the mouth are well organized. Even if you work, you should be relaxed. If you are always working, you will sometimes be lonely and lonely. Propose a marriage, we can also get along with a couple of men and women, and when you need me, I will immediately be with you. You're talking about Yan Ji's expression was even more painful. This guy, full of love for men and women, is not corroded by the world. The qualifications are too bad. How can such a person be a natural darling, envy, jealous? After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1436. Sinan, I can do a lot of work with a shot. I don't think it's an interesting thing. In fact, I don't think you need to think about it. If you think about it, you will find that it's boring. It's not as enjoyable as work. Sinan, he didn't feel boring at all, and he was very excited to think about it. Yan Ji was heartbroken at the expression of his obsession. I'm going back, she stood up. I can't waste time with you. If you really want to get married, you can find another woman. After a pause, she said, it's no use for me to save your life. Sinan. I won't. He followed, and walked out together. He felt as if he still had a lot of things to say to her and wanted to argue with her again. But I do know why. Uncomfortable, Afterwards, he felt uncomfortable with the thought of what she said before. He who has a heartache seems to have become him. Yan Ji saw his face bewildered and rare. He sighed and said, Sinan, people should have a broader vision and mind. People live only for decades, but if they can do something meaningful, they can be remembered for hundreds of years and thousands. Years. I feel that the love between men and women is far from being more meaningful to humanity. Sinan thinks that this kind of words should be said by some gray-haired old scientists. But from the mouth of the young woman in front of him, he didn't even feel abrupt. Her serious look made him even feel that her thoughts were a kind of tarnish to her. On the way to send the song, Sinan didn't speak again. There was no Yanj, she didn't look up holding her phone. When he got to the place, Yanj got out of the car and asked Sinan, be careful on the way back. Sinan nodded, watching her turn and leave. Never looked back. He knew that she did not fall in love anymore, and had no interaction with other men outside of work. She really has been working as she said. When Yanj suffered heart failure, she was still in the laboratory. Flop fell down and never got up again. When Sinan got the news, he was outside. When he went back, he saw her dead body. Suddenly she died without even leaving a word for him. This time, she was really dead. Even if he crosses the mountains again, he will not be able to bring her back from the death line. His fingers touched her frowny eyes. The coldness shuddered unknowingly. She is dead. Not silent. There are countless people she has helped, and countless units she has worked with. Those in the Justice Department, those in the Public Security Bureau, her colleagues in her institute, and the students she brought with her. They all appeared at her funeral. Come and visit her and offer her a wreath. An old woman burst into tears in front of her tombstone. Granny's child is a drug addict, she led people on the right path. There were many such people at her funeral. They cried in front of her tombstone, and those tears were all true feelings. Sinan looked at these people, as if finally understood what she was after. He thought that after his death, he was afraid that there were no people who collected the corpse, let alone those who sincerely cried because of his death. But, do you want to live like her? Don't want to at all. She loves the world and she has a broad mind. But his heart was very small, so small that she could only hold her, and never let anyone else go, let alone the world. She died, as if taking away all his concerns. When she was there, Sinan didn't feel so uncomfortable. When she left, Sinan had the illusion that her entire heart was hollowed out. For a few days, he, had countless dreams. The clear things in the dream, sober, but remember nothing, only tears wet the pillow, and my heart was dull and painful. He felt that he must be her in his dream. He missed her and wanted to miss it. He lived a long time. He helped her fund the institute. He continued to do the charity she had done. He did not marry a wife, have no children, and have no lover. During his lifetime, he was lonely. After his death, countless people worshipped in front of his tombstone. He and her gravestones were next to each other, next to each other. Each other's tombstones are engraved with each other's name. Sinan's wife, Zhao Fifei. Zhao Fifei's husband, Sinan. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1437. When Yanj returned to the system space, in the empty system space, except for her feather duster, she was herself. One missing chick is like an entire world missing. She pursed her lips, closed her eyes, and entered her own chaotic space. In the chaotic space, her ontological tree grows again. The body tree has a diameter of half a foot, and there are many branches. The tree has grown tall. Yan Ji slightly raised his head, looking at a few different colored hearts still on the treetops. On weekdays, it was the chicken that bounced among the leaves and branches. It has been a long time since she had been swallowed by a devouring beast as food to eat, and she had never seen such a green hair. This scene is hard to come by. She wanted to laugh, but couldn't laugh. If the chicken is here, it will be very happy. The guy wanted to build a nest in her tree for a long time, and if it could come back, she would keep her eyes closed this time, even if it was ugly, she would never refuse it. After entering the plane again, Yanj was about to move, and a hand rested on her back. "Where are you going?" It was the voice of a man, and the voice was lazy, with a bit of lameness. Yan Song turned his back on him. She glanced down, her body slick, and a bed under her. No need to think, you can understand what this body did before she came. Yan Song did not look back. "Go to the bathroom." The man raised an eyebrow and wondered, "Did you just go?" Words, frequent urination. The man behind laughed lowly, and wrapped his fingers in a long strand of Yan Ji's hair to play with. "Will it be kidney deficiency?" Yanj got up, and wanted to wrap himself around with something. As a result, he found that he had no clothes except the quilt. And the quilt was not Xiao Yang, it was a little thick, and it wasn't something she could drag around. She had to walk towards the bathroom naked. The hair was torn by a man, and she immediately felt no favor with the man who sounded good. Look at the room layout, it should be a suite in the hotel. Although there is no memory of the original owner, the bathroom is easy to find. Yanj entered the bathroom, locked the door, opened the water in the sink, and washed her face. Then she sat on the toilet and accepted the information from the plane. This plane is quite dog-blooded. The original owner, Lu Xian, was a rich 3 generations, but the family was down. By the time of her generation, she had no family background. After returning from abroad, she went to the entertainment circle to develop in a mixed way. Oh, the original owner also secretly married the same rich 3 generations, but the marriage of the two was completely forced by various situations. Her husband hadn't even seen her. The two just got a card to finish the ball. When the card was collected, her husband didn't go to the scene. In the eyes of her strange husband, she grew up abroad, and her father is still an Englishman. She is a blonde girl. She entered the entertainment industry. When the mixed wind and water rose, she was ruled by her husband. Of course, most of this hidden rule was facilitated by her consent. She was promoted from her husband's wife to her husband's lover. Later, her husband had a deep love for her little lover and wanted to divorce his wife and marry her. The original owner and the old convention set out on the way to divorce, and the car accident died. It's dog blood and simple. The original owner had no wish, she was going to show her identity after divorcing her husband, and then look at her husband's chin. Of course, huge divorce fees are essential. After all, most of the giants have 5 million tricks to break up. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1438. The original owner's husband has a generous shot, and he is still anxious to divorce to turn his lover into a right. How can he give her 50 million? Poor Lord, it's just hanging up before 50 million. The tasks released by the system in this plane are very general: flip a car and show off the technology. Yanj chewed these words repeatedly. I don't think it is a big problem for her. After all, she is now an old driver among the old drivers. The knock on the door banged. Yan Ji opened his eyes, and the man on the bed was Gu Yan, who was the husband of the big president who raised the original owner. Yan Ji didn't know how to evaluate this young couple. Good couples are inappropriate: a lover, a sleeping man. Asleep, isn't this the person who sleeps? What's so interesting? Yanj got up, walked in front of the door, and opened the door. Yan Song rushed away. Guyan tried to knock the door open, but the door opened at this time. He couldn't stop it, and hacked directly into the bathroom. Women's bodies are soft, and splits may not matter. But such a man like Guyan, before a split is done, his hurt legs seem to be discounted. He even called out in disregard for his face. Yan Ji saw that he was a split first, then held his hands for a long time. It seemed like he was posing. But this pose is obviously not very nice. She rushed forward to help. I didn't know you were going to rush in, are you okay? Guyan avoided Yan Ji's hand, gritted his teeth and drew the air conditioner. Don't touch me. Yan Ji saw his face in pain, and asked, you have a cramp in your leg. Guyan looked up at her. The egg is cramped. Yanj didn't understand for a moment. What? What cramps? Guyan was suffering from the pain. Seeing Yanj was so incompetent, the airway said, egg, my egg is cramped. Yan Ji looked down and fell between his legs. Is the egg you said the one I want? Guyan was so angry that his nostrils were almost smoking. Do you think there can be eggs in my whole body besides that? Egg cramps are a big deal, and that's the blessing that will affect a lifetime. Yan Song, oh, then, should I call 120? She didn't wait for Guyan to respond, and she asked, is there any muscle in the egg? Guyan. Gugu was so aggressive on his face, and Yan Ji rushed out of the bathroom. I'll find the phone to help you call 120. No, Guyan's face turned blue. Because of such a small matter, he didn't want to publish in tomorrow's newspaper. Hemp eggs, egg cramps, need to be in the newspaper, before it becomes a matter of his third leg broken. Exaggerated by the media, he didn't want to teach at all. Yan Ji listened to his voice full of vitality. It really does not look like the third leg is about to become disabled, and then settles his heart. So she didn't call again, because she had no clothes. She slipped into the bed. Guyan slowly got up, bowed slightly, and staggered to the door, staring at the song while holding the door. The words and songs that had been lying back in the bed were glared by him inexplicably, and asked him, what's wrong? Guyan thought that something had happened to her in the bathroom. She couldn't knock on the door, and was anxious to break through the door, and she pulled her own eggs. Incidentally, not only did the culprit have no guilt, but he got into the bed and looked at him innocently. Guyan was so angry that there was a sip of old blood in his throat. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1439. Guyan couldn't take the matter out and talk about it. He could only look cold and ask her, why is it so slow to go to the bathroom? Yan Song, I urinate frequently. She added, you can't stop urinating frequently and just want to squat on the toilet for a bit longer. The time for Yanj to come is just right. This is the time when Guyan has a deep love for the original lover, divorce, and marriage. This answer not only failed to make Guji angry, but made Guji even more angry. He felt that the words of the song was obviously an excuse. With a cold face, he probably felt that he was not wearing clothes, and the image of standing at the door of the bathroom was not arrogant, so he staggered to the bed and opened the quilt to lie in. After lying down for a long time, when his egg cramping pain passed, he turned over and pressed his words. Yan Ji was drowsy, and he pushed him subconsciously, eggs. Guyan. She couldn't hear the response, yawning and said, don't make it. Be careful about getting eggs again. Go to bed. You have to get up early tomorrow. Guyan. He originally wanted to fight her for hundreds of rounds and taught her that he couldn't even speak. But thought of the pain of the egg. He silently cancelled his plan to fight again. After all, once again, he really couldn't bear it. She turned down from Yanj and wrapped her quilt back to her. Until he fell asleep, he did not see the conscienceless woman scoop up and hug him. Mad. When Yanj woke up the next day, He was empty and there was no trace of Guyan. She didn't care. Woke up and rummaged in the room, found clothes in the cabinet, put on clothes, and finished washing. The original owner's agent Lu Yuan called. The original owner is not well known in the circle today, at most he is a fourth-rate little star. Her agent is not a serious agent, she has signed a lot of new stars, mostly free-range or pimping. Lu Yuan has always been holding on to the crowd, and sooner or later he will have such a mentality that he can be hot. Therefore, he can't do his best for the artist, but he has to be good. After all, in this industry, who knows that someone who comes out of a certain corner is not favored by the country guy, and maybe he won't be able to fly to the sky the next day, which money grandpa? There are too many uncertain factors, and the industry is too deep. Most of the smart people are not guilty. They must wear small shoes and wear them behind their backs. Yan Ji just picked up the phone, and Lu Yuan on the other side of the phone cried intimately, "Sweetly tell you good news." This intimate tone is really nauseous, saying, "Huh." Lu Yuan hesitated a few times and said, "The female number 3 of Liulai Chuan has been determined, and it is yours. You received it today. It is an audition of Chen Dao's new opera Female Number 2. It's a rare opportunity. I'll pass the script and the specific itinerary to your mailbox in a while. Take a closer look and try to win this role." Words, okay. Lu Yuan continued, "How is it? It will soon become popular. How do you feel?" "Yanj, it's not hot yet, brother Lu. When it gets hot, you must remember to ask me that. I'm afraid you'll get rid of everything I forgot when I became popular." Alas, the one that I used to bring low-handed, managed to make him popular. He cancelled the contract and went to another company. Now he has seen me. I didn't even say hello, and I felt sad when I said it. Yan Ji laughed a few times, but made no promise to Lu Yuan. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1440. The third-rate small workshop. If you really want to be famous, you have to go up high. You definitely want to sign a good company. Who wants to stay in a pheasant-style studio? And Lu Yuan is also an old chose. Whoever leaves will have to peel off a layer of skin. Where can he suffer? By the way, should I have an assistant for you? You know how many things I have, I'm afraid I can't take care of you. No, Yanj said, I'm not hot right now, and I have no notice. I can take care of myself. The original owner of the entertainment circle was purely interested. Although her family was down, she was still a girl who was unwilling to follow the wave. She could be satisfied in this industry after eating and drinking and doing her favorite acting career. Therefore, even if the line of Gu Yuan was taken up, the original owner did not make the best use of it, which led Lu Yuan to think that the original owner had fallen out of favor here. When the original owner set up Guji, he assigned an assistant to the original owner in time, but found that the original owner was out of favor, and soon he used other excuses to transfer the assistant. This time Lu Yuan mentioned the assistant again. Yan Ji thought that perhaps the female number 3 obtained this time was won by Gu Yan for her. Otherwise, how could Lu Yuan, a shabby iron rooster, assign her an assistant? It's strange to say. To the original owner's life, the current Gu Yan should call the original owner to mention divorce. What a whole day, no news. Could it be possible, because of the bullshit, Fu Gang lost his energy? This is very likely. Lu Yuan's email has been sent. Yan Ji set Gu Yan's affairs aside and opened the email. The female number 3 in Lu Lichuan has been reserved for her, but she doesn't need to worry about it. What she has to worry about is the audition of the female number 2 in the new drama of Chen Dao. A cursory glance at the script is a play in which the harem daughters are fighting for the show. This so-called female number 2 is a barbarian princess, because she looks like Bai Egguang, who died of the emperor. The princess was going to marry the prince, but the emperor intervened and took the beauty into her harem. The princess was taciturn, but because the emperor was gentle on her at first, she felt that the emperor liked her, and she had no one in the harem. But later, the emperor went out and led his troops to level the barbarians. The father and brother of the barbarians were captured and beheaded in Beijing. The emperor told the contented princess that her father and brother had sinned less than her. But the pet of the barbarian princess was gone. Later, she provoked the new darling of the harem and was given a glass of poisoned wine by the emperor. The barbaric princess was pregnant at the time, and the emperor did not even look at her at last. Probably because she is a strange monster, Yan Ji is almost in her hands when it comes to drama, and after reading the script twice, she has already understood the role of this barbaric princess. The original owner did not want to be motivated, and has been wandering in these 4 streams, mainly because, not too famous, can have a lot of time to play. The original owner is playful and delicious. Bar disco, there is no place to go. Guya did not contact Yanj. In the evening, Yanj drew a heavy makeup, met 2 fellow friends, learned the original owner, and went to the bar where the original owner frequented. The hot pants and suspenders made Yan Ji cool. She hopped on the dance floor for a while, then went to the bar and ordered a glass of wine. I haven't had a mouthful yet, and someone is talking about it. Beautiful girl, you look so familiar. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1441. This approach is long outdated. And why is this man talking yin and yang strangely not male or female? Yan Ji looked at the sound, looking into the eyes of a white and tender man, male or female. It's a man, and Yan Ji suddenly felt a little unsure whether the man was a man or a woman. The man had a pair of peach eyes with passionate feelings, and his lips were small and full. Yan Ji and his eyes met him with the illusion that he had been electrified. She looks good and is seductive. Oh demon! Hey! Beauty, do I look good? The man spoke again. I have to say that no matter how good looking a man is, if he doesn't sound good, he will be very unhappy. Even though Yanj was numb by the man's electricity, the moment he heard this guy's voice, he immediately stumbled again. She was in a good mood and said with a smile on her glass, "It really looks good." The man raised his eyebrows, his eyes waved really charming, then, "Shall we have a shot that night?" Words of song. A place like a bar is indeed a place that breeds one-night stand, but everyone knows that there are only various hints. Such a direct guy, isn't this for sure? Yanj didn't say anything, she dangled the glass and glanced at the man from top to bottom. Gaze finally nailed to the man's belly. Yan Ji's gaze was so hot that a man could not ignore it. He simply sat in the open space beside Yan Ji, his legs spread, and he smiled at Yan Ji. How? Satisfied. The room rate is 5 or 5 cents. I took the condom, so I didn't have to pay for it. Yanj, it's a pity such a face. Yan Ji is the first time to meet such a fresh and refined man. She asked, "What brand is the condom?" The man's voice was grotesque and yang, and it sounded awkward, but he was honest. The family planning office in the community took it there. Song, oh. The man didn't seem to feel that there was any problem with his remarks, still staring at the words with a burning gaze, walking away. Such a short night time is a pity. Words of song. She asked, "No money to open a house?" Man, yes, 5 or 5 minutes. There is a small hotel next door, 50 yuan a night. We are 5 or 5. I have 25. Oh, this is 250 hair. Yanj, it sounds like a lack of money. Man, no shortage, I have money. Yanj, then you lack a woman. Man, missing a beauty like you. No money, the requirements are quite high. Yanj slanted him, I don't want to. Man, don't sleep on a man like me, you don't lose money, you make money. Yan Song, the sound is too bad. As soon as I hear your voice, I have no interest at all. Man, you call when you're in bed. I'll do it. I promise not to say anything. Words of song. She had never seen such a cheeky guy. He was so impatient that he wanted to smash him. However, before she continued to speak, two women suddenly rushed towards the bar, one left and one right, sandwiching the man. Nine brother, why do auntie you come here tonight without saying a word? Walk around, sister takes you to open a room. Between the two women's speech, holding one arm of the man in one hand, the man was about to be taken away. Words of song. Sister, sister, they just fancy a beautiful girl, I really have no time to play with you tonight, another day, another appointment another day, today I want to go on a date with a beautiful girl. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1442. The eyes of the two women followed the man and fell on Yan Ji. Yan Ji glanced at them. The two women looked young, and their bracelets, necklaces, and clothes were luxury items. Rich people. As soon as they heard the man's words, they looked jealous when they looked at the words. Yan Ji rolled his eyes at the man, I'm not interested in you. As soon as she said nothing, the two women were unwilling. One reached out and pushed her shoulder, and the other said, Jadi sees you. That's your honor. Why do you refuse? Yanj, she thought that men were wonderful enough, but now, suddenly, these two women are even more amazing. She avoided the woman's hand touching her shoulder, don't touch me. The woman sneered slightly, turned her head and smiled softly and said to the man again, Nine brother, haven't your room been opened yet? I'll help you open the room. The presidential suite in the Zhejiang Star across the road, do you want candlelit dinner? I'll order another for you. Yanj finally faced this man who was not male or female. Even if the gun can be used, you can peddle several boats, and you can turn the ex into your elder sister, and let the elder sister willingly spend money to open a house for him and help him to make an appointment. This kind of man is not something you can do. To the point where the grease slips, that is also a skill. This kind of ability, Yan Song has only seen in a guy. After thinking about it that way, Yanj suddenly felt that this guy who was not a boy or a girl looked really familiar. She looked up and took a long drink from the glass. Then she smiled and looked at the man, what's your name? The man immediately rushed to Yan Ji, meeting is a destiny. It's too far-fetched to ask for a name. You can call me Xiaoju. Words, oh. Man, beauty, let's go. When he said this, the two girls around him stared at the song with jealousy, their eyes seemed to be spitting fire, but they did not raise any objections to Xiaoju's words. It can be seen that they were really brainwashed. Yanj stood up and let the man take her wrist and walked out together. When passing by the two girls, Xiaoju waved to his two sisters, Sister, I'm going. You can send the room number and password to my mobile phone, and remember to put the room card at the front desk. The elder sister's voice was clearly crying, but she still said, Okay, go to brother 9. It really moved the sky. Yanj was pulled out of the bar by Xiaoju. Listening to this guy said, no parking at the door, my car is over there. Yo, is there a car? A guy with only 250 hairs, what can a car be? Yan Ji was curious, but when she walked near the car, she suddenly felt that her own imagination was still lacking. A bicycle parked in front of her. It's not a Phoenix or a BMW. It's a shared bike. Xiaoju let go of Yan Ji's hand to scan the code, although it is not far away, it is convenient to take a car. Words, he. She stood still, where do I sit? Xiaoju, sitting in the front basket, You are thin and light, and you have more than 2 baskets. Words, I refuse. She would never do such a thing without a sense of security and putting herself in danger. Xiaoju frowned. He had a good-looking look, his eyes were watery, and such a frown, not only did not have the fierceness of a man, but also a bit of pitiful beauty. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1443. In this era of small fresh meat and small milk dogs, Xiaoju's appearance is probably very popular. It's still male and female. But the words are indifferent. She hugged her chest with both hands and stared at Xiaoju with expressionless expressions. Don't sit. Waiting for Xiaoju to speak, she said, otherwise you ride me. Xiaoju not only did not get angry when he heard the words, but rejoiced. Okay. With a look of anticipation, he said, no girl has ever taken me by bike. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. You are so nice, you don't know. When I first saw you, I had a kind of affection from the heart. You are very beautiful. There are many beautiful women, but the gentleness in your eyebrows makes me unable to move my eyes. Words, he. Hold the handlebar and get on the car handsomely, then said to Xiaoju, sit up. Xiaoju, oh, good. But instead of sitting up, he squatted down and looked at the seat of Chao Yanj. Yanj didn't think about the crooked place, a problem with the car. No, Xiaoju said, I see that you are wearing a short skirt. I want to see if you can go away like this. If you go away, I will take off my coat and tie it to your waist. Yanj, so, are you gone? It's okay, it's not light, you're wearing underwear. Words of song. She felt that without a kick on this guy's forehead, she was really a tree of 5 beautiful and moral models. Beautiful lady, hold on to the handlebars, I'm going to sit up. Words, well. After Xiaoju sat in the basket in front, Yanj rode on the road and crooked left and right. Xiaoju was holding the handlebars with both hands in fright. He wanted to sit up, but his fell into the basket, and it wasn't so good when no one was holding it. Yanji deliberately walked on the uneven walkway. Xiaoju felt that his was turned into several petals, and he hurriedly called, Beauty, you are not very good at this technology, stay calm, sit in front of you with a big guy, the big guy has to wait for you tonight. If you dump the big guy, you have to stay alone at night. As soon as he finished speaking, the car of Yanj crooked and fell to the ground. Yanj's own long legs, when the car fell down, jumped directly to the side without hurting. But Xiaoju was not so lucky. He was nested in a basket, unable to pull or jump out. The head of the car was the heaviest because it was the first place to suffer when it fell. He dropped his eyes on the ground, but he couldn't do anything. Beauty, help me. Wow, it hurts, your arms are short, your cheekbones are broken, it hurts me, and the beauties are here to help me. Xiaoju's buttocks are stuck in the basket and can't get out. A car just turned around at the junction and stopped, and the lights hit 2 people on the side of the road. Yanji narrowed his eyes and watched someone step down from the car. I am curious that there are still some good people in this world, and I will see uneven parking to help. Waiting for the man to avoid the dazzling light of the headlights, when Yanj and his eyes met, the admiration of his heart disappeared. Where is this parking nice guy? The guy stared at her with a murderous look. It's like a cuckold husband who has caught his own devious wife. The man in front of me is Guyan. Yanji did not expect to encounter Guyan on such a narrow road. She thought immediately that she was so glamorous and so cool. Guyan can really recognize her. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1444. Xiaoju didn't see the word song to help, he was wronged and pressed his hands on the basket, and finally he pulled his eggs out of the basket with the power of feeding. He still hurts, his arm hurts more, stood up and hugged Yanj and grieved, "Beauty, teach me how to roll over. I have been riding this bike for so long, and I have never turned so beautifully as you did." Yanj didn't have time to push him away, Gu Min held the clothes on Xiaoju's back, and slammed people away. Not only that, he stared at the inexplicable little nine on the ground, slowly rolled up his shirt sleeves, and said a very domineering president's words, "My woman, you dare to hug, and die." Then Guyan and Xiaoju played together. Yanj took a few steps back, although Guye's words from the overbearing president made her play. However, she thought it would be nice if she had a handful of seeds at this time. After all, these two men are owed to each other, it is really good to see each other. Since Guyan dares to act, he has reliance. He has practiced, not to mention a small 9, that is, 3 of them are not in his eyes. Xiaoju, who was so stupefied that his nose was splattered all over his face, suddenly lost his most proud face. He cried with a sad face, and the yin and yang's weird voice yelled at Guyan, "How can you be so rude, hit, and I like men like you." When he said it, he also squeezed Gugu's waist on the trend, "I have abdominal muscles." Guyan. He had stopped his hand, heard the words, and continued to violently. Yan Ji looked almost, and then came out to round the field, "Guye, this is my cousin, Xiaoju." Guyan. Yanj went on to say, "He is too jerk, and he really likes men. I want to teach him tonight because of this incident. Thank you for helping me to beat him for a meal. I don't need to do it." Guyan, he suddenly remembered that when he hit this guy just now, this guy basically didn't fight back much, but kept stroking him. He originally thought it was a young chicken and a weak chicken. He had no strength to hit people. Now I heard Yanj say that this guy likes men, and suddenly it's too cold. How dare you just be eaten by tofu? Guyan could not wait to treat Xiaoju again. But when I heard the words out loud, I knew I was fit. He was touched by a man for so long, and he really wanted to go home and take a bath to rub himself inside and out. Naturally, he didn't want to chill. With a cold voice, he simply cabled, "Get in." Yanj slipped into the back seat. It seems that Gu Min believed that Xiaoju was the cousin of her cousin. This guy is also easy to believe in people. However, Yanj thought that it might be that this guy was unwilling to believe that she was going to give him a cuckold. Xiaoju saw that the song was in the back seat, and immediately climbed in. Guyan grabbed his clothes and dragged them down, "You take the co-pilot." Thinking of this guy being the same, and just eating his own tofu, Guyan was cold in his heart. He pulled away Xiaoju's clothes, and even felt that his own hands were stained with ashes. "Scrub." The words swayed and Gugu sat beside him. "Go to the hospital first," she told the driver. Guyan now wants to go home to take a bath. Although Wen Yan is unhappy, she thinks that her cousin was stung by her own pig, and she can't bear it.